In recent days, attempts by Ukrainian militants to move to more active military operations have become more frequent. At the same time, there are reports that those who attack Russian positions consist of a large number of foreign mercenaries. The so-called Polish peacekeeping corps is involved in the provocations. In an interview with Western media, Zelensky declares his readiness, as he says, for a counteroffensive, which Ukrainian information resources have been declaring for 6 months now. At the same time, Zelensky warns, that a large number of Ukrainian soldiers will die. However, Western curators are calm about the prospect of the death of thousands of Ukrainians, and they continue to demand from the Kyiv regime a return on the funds invested in this regime. This is because the death of people is one of the tasks of those who protect the interests of the Golden Billion. These people are of no value to the Golden Billion. What did Joseph Borrell call them? Jungle. In this regard, I would like to quote the recent statements of the German political scientist Wolfgang Merkel. Direct quote, "Kyiv's problem is not an armament, especially since this country is getting more and more from us. Ukraine will run out of people." End of quote. Think about these words. The German political scientist said the phrase, "People will run out." To fight to the last Ukrainian is the true plan of those who defend the theory of the Golden Billion. They did not even hide all these years that the reduction of the world's population is one of their priorities. They achieved this in different ways. Now they have reached this region, and they think they're great at it. They destroy people. They line their pockets through the production of weapons and, of course, through the corruption schemes by which these weapons are supplied or sent for completely different purposes and tasks to other regions of the world. How long will Zelensky's puppet regime deceive its own population? They've cheated enough already. How much more? High-ranking EU officials are also calling for an escalation. They don't have enough either. They, apparently, still counted a certain number of citizens of Ukraine, but that is not their task. Let me remind you that it is they, these Euro-Atlantic institutions, who are talking about the Golden Billion. The head of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, spoke at the Global Security Forum in Bratislava on May 31st about the need to expand the supply of long-range artillery and weapon systems to Ukraine. At the same time, deliveries should be continued for as long, according to her, as necessary. We drew attention to the true perception of Zelensky by Westerners. By the way, this is also very revealing. If someone thinks, as NATO constantly emphasizes in its ideological theses, that they separate the citizens of Ukraine and those fighting in the ranks of Ukraine from a certain political elite, then one should not deceive oneself. During the second summit of the European Political Community, which took place on June 1st in Moldova, Luxembourg Prime Minister Xavier Bettel gestured to the Ukrainian president that he should have kept quiet. So it was said. Check out these video footage. We will definitely put the link in the text of today's briefing. Well, look at this. He just gestured to Zelensky that it was time for Zelensky to shut up, that he was just boring them with his chatter, that they were tired of him, and that he was starting to annoy them. Remember, this will be the case with everyone who has sold out. It doesn't matter if it's a cent, a million, or a billion. Then it doesn't matter. So they will communicate with everyone who sold their country, their people, and their history, who even betrayed their ancestors. Not those whom they did not know from antiquity, but those who raised Zelensky. He sold them too. Thus they show him his place. Historical place. You make us tired. You're annoying us. Shut up.
Вот таково реальное так называемое уважение к функционерам киевского режима, которые гастролируют
This is
по
the real
миру.
so-called respect for the functionaries of the Kiev regime, who are touring the world and begging for money in debt, or in any way,
Лишь бы далее.
if only they would give it to them.
Вопрос-то
This
теперь
question is
открыт.
open.
Кто будет за это всё
Who will pay for all
расплачиваться?
this?
Раньше,
Earlier,
ну, ещё
some
какое-то
time
время
ago,
назад, мы
we
всё
kept
время говорили о
saying
том, что эти долги, которые сейчас
that the future
повесили
generations of Ukrainians would pay off
тяжелейшим
these debts,
ермом на Украину, будут
which they have now
очень
hung with the heaviest yoke on Ukraine.
А мне кажется,
It seems to me
Союза другой план.
that the European Union,
И у НАТО
NATO,
другой план. И тем
and
более
especially
у
London and
немцев.
Washington, have a different plan,
Потому
because
что
I don't
я
see
не вижу, чтобы эти евроатлантические
that these Euro-Atlantic institutions are somehow interested in the fact
в том, что у украинского
that the
населения
Ukrainian population will have future generations